Hi Sagittarius, I'm Ronique and welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to your mid-December to mid-January 2025 career tarot reading. And I decided to start doing these more in the middle of the month to the middle of the next month because I'm starting to realize that a lot of the career energy definitely folds into the next month. And I want to make sure you all are prepared for the next month coming ahead. So let's get right into it. Remember, in December, we have Mercury in Sagittarius leaving retrograde post-shadow, Venus entering Pisces by time we move into January. But we also have Mars retrograde entering Cancer in January. And December, remember, we had Gemini full moon on the 15th and Sun entering Capricorn on the 21st. So there's lots of momentum moving into the new year. And I do hope that each of us take what we can, especially dealing with our career, our job, determine if we still need to be in that same career in 2025. I do think that many of us are going to see huge shifts, especially with this long Mars retrograde. We have Mars in retrograde at least until the springtime. So this is plenty of time for you to work with that energy. So check the description box below for all of the dates from mid-December until mid-January. Okay, you all, let's get right into it. So you start off that mid-month of December with the Four of Pentacles, as well as the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. So two Pentacles starting off that reading. Second week, there is the Nine of Swords, as well as the Ace of Swords. So you're getting a lot of synchronicities here. So this is now the ending of December into January. We have the Empress card in reverse, major arcana there, as well as the Fool card, another major arcana, both in reverse. And then we move into January with the King of Wands in the reverse. My goodness, Sag, so many reversals. And the Strength card, major arcana, mid-month of January. So already, Sagittarius, you can see that there is definitely some type of something you all have been dealing with that you probably need to let go by time you get to mid-month of January. Before we attach an outcome, I'll go ahead and pull all the cards, but you can tell with all those reversals, Sagittarius, there's something that you all are holding on to that it's time to move on from. But let's go ahead and pull all your cards. Spirit, if you can give us a card suggesting the energy that they moved out of November and into December with. And you have the Six of Cups in the reverse. Now, the Six of Cups is that card of where is it that you have been possibly dealing with a nostalgic energy, meaning people from your past. This could be an old boss that comes in. It could be someone from an old company who reaches back out to you. Or this could also be you remembering when you were at another company or you used to have your own business. Maybe you're thinking about doing that again here in 2025. And Spirit wants to remind you that throughout mid-December through mid-January, take a look at where you've come through the year of 2024. Who is it that possibly keeps popping into your mind? And use that to figure out, is this the energy you want to continue with, or do you need to leave it in the past with it being in the reverse, okay? Let's pull one last card and ask Spirit to send you a card representing an oracle message for your career mid-December into January. All right, Sag, and you have Ace of Water. So the Ace of Water is very similar to the Ace of Cups, and it says follow, or I can hardly read it. My eyes aren't that good. It says falling in love or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition, possibly a new home. So for many of you all, I do think that January could bring some type of emotional intuition. And I do think that for many of you all, this is going to be stemming from, like I said, that emotional energy of possibly someone from your past. But this also could be a new love or someone that you meet at work. But it also could be you trying to figure out how to tap into your intuition in your own home, and it could affect your career. Okay, so this could be your loved one, but this could also be you just trying to attach to your intuitive side. And I do think, Sagittarius, that's going to be very big for you moving through December and into January. And I do think that when we start off this reading here mid-December, this is when we have that Gemini full moon on the 15th. And on that same day, we have Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius ending. This is big energy around conversations that could have been with groups of people, or some type of culmination could come from a event that stemmed back in Gemini season earlier in the spring. With these both being in reverse, this is looking like someone at your job, possibly a boss or someone you have been having conversations around getting a raise, possibly a promotion, or even this is you holding on to your money and trying to figure out what are the next steps you need to take. I do think many of you all around the 19th and 21st of the month, when we do have the sun entering Capricorn, this is the winter solstice. And I do think at this time, many of you all are going to be rethinking your finances, trying to figure out if you want to remain in the career or the job you are now at the end of the year. And I do think by time you close out 2024, look at all of this air energy, Sagittarius. This is you really overthinking. And I do think that Gemini full moon on the 15th spearheads a lot of this overthinking. And I also think that by time you get to the 29th, when we have Chiron in Aries retrograde ending, and then we have a Capricorn new moon on December 30th, during this time, really pay attention to your thoughts. Make sure you're not overthinking things so much that you're manifesting things that wouldn't have manifested if you weren't obsessing about them. That's why I just heard obsessing. This Ace of Swords in reverse does suggest some type of enlightenment is trying to get to you, but you're so worried and you're so focused on what could go wrong that you're not paying attention what is going right. And I do think that by time you get to January 2nd, 2025, this is when Mercury leaves its retrograde shadow. And hopefully some of this worry, some of that information that you weren't quite sure how things were going to go, I think that could clear up that first week of January. So that's really nice to see, Sagittarius. And I do think that by time you're moving into that first week of January, you have these two major arcanas right out the gate, right in the beginning of 2025. Now, I will say that Mars retrograde enters Cancer on January 6th. So this could be more in your feelings energy with Mars and Cancer. Remember, we had Mars and Cancer already back in around October. So you could have already felt this energy before. And I do think many of you all are like hitting almost a roadblock as to how to move forward this year, how to set your goals this year, how to know what is the next step for your job, your career, where you want to go. And by the time we move to January 8th, when Mercury enters Capricorn, I do think goal setting could get easier. And you could find that this Empress and this Fool card, you're able to set forth on a new journey this year instead of worrying about what you're supposed to do and the goals you had in 24. I feel like here you're setting new goals for 25 and feeling a lot better about it. Now, I do think that by time you reach mid-January, this is when we have the North Node and South Node finally move into Pisces and Virgo. And we have a Cancer full moon on the 13th, and Sun enters Aquarius on January 19th. Now, during this Cancer full moon, I do think many of you all are going to be reconnecting with some emotional energy that you weren't prepared to deal with, especially with that Mars in Cancer now, plus this Cancer full moon. By the time you get to mid-month, you're really wondering whether you have the strength to continue through this journey. And you're like, I need to reinvent myself. I need to think out the box. And I do think that this King of Wands and Strength card in reverse, by the time you get to the Sun entering Aquarius on January 19th, you are ready for something new. You are ready to work with either a new group of people or even just throw everything out that you've known and maybe just step into something new. So I do think that, Sagittarius, this is going to be An interesting time in your career from mid-December to mid-January, because you're rethinking things. You're realizing that the direction that you have been going is not the way that you want to in 2025. And you can see with all these reversals, plus that Nine of Swords, that Nine of Swords is the only card that you have upright, which suggests that you are stressing yourself out. You have been really worried. And I do think that some of you need to revisit what it is you want to do with your career, with your job, and what is it that makes you feel good. And I do think that that Fool card and Empress around the end of December is really going to highlight the areas that you've been spending too much time in, and I think you're going to start steering towards a much better future once you get into the latter part of January, when we do have the sun entering Aquarius. So Sag, I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know, what are you looking forward to in your career from the mid-December into mid-January? I hope you all have a great holiday season. Don't stress too much about your career, and when you come back in 2025, you are ready to start new goals. All right, Sag, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.